Hello, everybody. Good morning if you're in Sub-Saharan Africa, in West Africa specifically, if you're following at the same time as us. And good evening if you're anywhere else in this part of the world. Thank you for joining us today in doing this webinar from the Ashinaga Africa Initiative, specifically focusing on developing female leadership with Ashinaga today. My name is Uli Mata, and I'll be your co-host today in doing this webinar and this panel discussion with three of our scholars and another staff, a colleague member in charge of supporting our scholars throughout their journey. Briefly, I'll give you an overview of what the plan is for today. We'll wait for a minute to give people time to join, and in the meantime, you can take a look at what the plan will be for today. So thank you for waiting. We'll start at 11:03. Thank you to everyone who is joining us and looking to learn more about the Ashinaga Africa Initiative. We really hope today our discussion will help you understand more everything that Ashinaga is doing to help female scholars develop themselves, their potential, and become the future leaders that we know that they can be. So it is our pleasure to be with you today. All right, I'll go over the timetable quickly so we can get right ahead and get started. I'll do a brief introduction of what Ashinaga Ashinaga Africa Initiative is, but I am assuming that if you're with us today, you already know quite a lot about the scholarship, so I won't be spending too much time reminding of this because you can also find that information on our website and all our social media. After that, we'll move right into the panel discussion with Jennifer, my colleague, who is in the SRC team, Students Coordinating Team, and providing tremendous support to all our scholars once they are enrolled in as Ashinaga scholars. And we'll also be joined by three of our female scholars who are very excited today to share their journey and their experience being AAI candidates and scholars with us today. So we'll go ahead and get started right away. If you have any questions, please make sure to write them in the comments on Facebook, and our staff will be able to relay them to us, and we are going to try our best to answer them live while we're still here. If not, we'll answer them as comments or we'll answer them later as emails or so. So thank you very much. So I'll start with a brief reminder of what the AAI is. AAI stands for the Ashinaga Africa Initiative. And as you already might know, Ashinaga in itself is a Japanese foundation with its headquarters based in Tokyo. The AAI is a program that was launched by Ashinaga a few years ago, and that is looking at cultivating the future leaders of Africa for the development of Sub-Saharan Africa. What we do is every year we recruit students from Sub-Saharan Africa who have lost one or both parents, but are committed to returning to Sub-Saharan Africa to initiate change, innovation, and development. At Ashinaga, we provide full financial support for students to study at university abroad, and we provide support at 3 different stages of this program. I have to mention that the AAI is not just a scholarship or a financial support program, because that's what's mentioned here, but it is also a comprehensive leadership development program, which is beyond just recruiting the students. We provide them support in studying and preparing for the university applications. We also support them once they are in university during the 4 years or 3 they take to complete their first diploma in higher education. And we also provide support once they have finished with their first degree with Ashinaga. So we provide comprehensive support to our alumni as well after graduations. It is very important for me to mention that right now, our 2022 applications are open, and we are actually in the last stretch. So they are open until January 28th. And what you see right now are the criteria for being eligible to the Ashinaga Africa Initiative. I won't go over all of them, but just know that you have to have been born after September 1st, 1999, and you also have to have your secondary school exam results after or after 2nd August 2019 and before February 28th, 2022. Of course, like I said before, it is a program for those who have lost one or two parents, so you'll need to provide a proof of that. If you need any reminder or you're just getting a first look at all these criterias, please go on our website and our social media. You'll find a comprehensive guidebook for candidates that will tell you all you need to know about the scholarship. We have a very full Q&A section that will answer all the questions you might have regarding the scholarship. So we are waiting for your applications and really looking forward to have you. Now, to touch on a little bit about why we're having this webinar today, I think it is known to all of us that having gender parity in all stratums of life of society has become a goal for everybody. And while the UN and other bigger organizations are the one defining these goals and putting target numbers on them, it is up to us, smaller organizations and individuals, to really do the work that's needed to be done to get there. And this is why Ashinaga has made it a goal, a target for itself, to really have as many as female applicants and candidates chosen into our program as possible. And we are doing everything that we can. We are doing extra promotional efforts just to have more female candidates into our program and hopefully have more female scholars as well into Ashinaga. So from here, now that we have explained to you a little bit why we're having this webinar today, I'm hoping that whatever we're sharing in the next few minutes with my colleague and the scholars will really convince you to try your best to become an AAI scholar as a female, or if you know a young lady in your network who would deserve this scholarship or who would be a good candidate, to pass on this information and encourage her to apply to the AAI. So I'm hoping that next year we'll be saying that one of our candidates is a female who attended this webinar today. So thank you for joining us. Without further ado, I will introduce everybody else that will be talking today, and then we can get ahead and started with the questions. So most importantly, today we have the 3 scholars that will be sharing their experience. So they've lived it best. They know better than anybody else what it's like to be an AAI female scholar. So we're really looking forward to hear their experience. First, we have Rose, who is, they're all current scholars. And first we have Rose, who is from South Africa and currently studying in Japan. Next, we have Betty, who is from Ethiopia and studying in Japan as well. And third, last but not least, of course, we have Susan from Tanzania, and she's currently studying in the UK. Also an AMIA student in Tanzania. So they will tell us more about themselves in a few minutes, but joining me today in asking questions and talking about what Ashinaga is doing for the scholars is my colleague and student relations manager, Jennifer, which teams is doing like the most amazing work in supporting the students. When it comes from the very moment that we have selected these students as AI candidates to all the way to graduation. It is years and years of support that they offer to these students, and not just financial. They're like for here moral support, emotional support, and any kind of support that you might think. So I'm really excited to hear her perspective on her work in supporting these female scholars. So we're gonna go ahead with that. I'm gonna hand over to Jennifer now to tell us what, as a student relations manager, what she envisions as the journey for female scholars to be when they enter Ashinaga, and what kind of support they've been providing until then. So Jennifer, if you are hearing me, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Uli. Hello, everybody. My name is Jennifer, and we're very happy that you can join us today for this special webinar. As you can imagine, the AI scholars are a special group of young people who will be making a difference in the future. And within that special group of young people, we have a special group of young ladies who are wonderfully positioned to become the future leaders that the whole world needs. And one of the reasons why the AI is such a special program is because it is not just financial support, as Ulimata said, but it is a leadership development program. And the development part of this is that everybody can be a leader. You don't have to be the head of some company. You don't have to be the president of some country to be a leader. You can be a leader within your own community and within your own family or within your own school. And so that means that each of the young ladies that are selected for the AI have that potential within them. And over the course of their journey as a scholar, this is developed, the skills that they need are developed even more. And so what does that look like in reality? Well, the journey of a female scholar starts at application stage for people deciding that they want to try the AI. And then it moves through selection. And after selection, you have to be ready for the journey that you're about to take. And that means it starts with the preparation. And so the support from Ashinaga and AI includes a 1-year preparation year that will get you ready to start your undergraduate studies in countries possibly all over the world. After you are finished with the preparation year and have applied and get ready to start your undergraduate degree, that support continues for 3 to 4 years. And that is where the student relations team, which I'm the manager of the Japan student relations team, this is where the support comes, individual support, one-on-one with each scholar and each student relations team member. After that, the journey will continue after your degree is complete and you move into our graduates and alumni portion of the AI journey. And this alumni network is where Susan is at right now, because just because you finished your degree doesn't mean that your development is finished. You can continue to do this through the connections that you've made and the skills that you've made, and even possibly studying for a master's degree under Ashinaga with the Ashinaga Masters in Africa program. And so the support that is provided is individual, it is full, and the aspects of your development will be supported in multiple ways. Each scholar is assigned a designated student relations coordinator. I actually was one of the coordinators who supported Betty, who is one of the scholars on the call today, for the first few years of her studies in Japan. Also, this relationship that you have, working relationship you have with the student relations coordinators, also means that you have somebody to talk to if you are facing challenges in your academics, or even if you're not facing challenges in your academics, so that you know that that support for your academic growth is there. But academics are not everything. You also have to adjust to living and working and studying in a foreign country. And so cultural and social adjustment support is also provided for each of the scholars. And of course, it's not easy studying for an undergraduate degree, and it's not necessarily easy studying in a foreign country outside and away from home and family. So therefore, there is some kind of emotional care and well-being support, which includes mental health support or access to resources through Ashinaga and our partners. Therefore, as each person is made up of different parts, you also will have support for the different parts and aspects of your life. And this can start for the student relations team from the moment you arrive at the airport in your country of study. We pick you up at the airport, we bring you to your school or where you will be living for the next several years. But also we partner with the professional and career development teams that will help you with your career development and also get you ready for steps after university. So again, the AI is, we don't just select you and then leave you. We have the whole hope that you will be developing into a leader, and young ladies all over the world who are studying will then be able to go back home and make a very big difference in big and small ways for not just you, but for your communities and for your countries and all over the world. And the student relations team is there to support you in that process. And I'm very happy to help answer any questions that you might have about details about how this looks. And also if you have any concerns, we're also very happy to take those questions in the chat as well. And Ulimata, if there's anything else that I can cover right now, I would be happy to do so. But if not, I will turn it back over to you and we'll wait for the next questions to start coming in.
Thank you, Jennifer. That was a very comprehensive explanation of all the support that Ashinaga provides with the scholars. And I really don't think they can never understand just how much they get support unless they are in it. We try to explain it, but it's just amazing. But I hope, hopefully the students will also be able to explain it further. Now we would like to take a minute to talk about specifically what it's like to applying to the Ashinaga scholarship program, leadership program as a female applicant. Not that we specifically, have criteria or anything that we impose on females to apply, but we are aware of certain social factors that might impact the numbers of female applicants that we have, or the quality of the applications, or the feeling that the female applicants might have throughout the application. And we would like to take away some of those fears and some of those insecurities. So the first thing that we would like to explain is that when we say leadership, we want really all candidates, but specifically female candidates, to think about the traditional roles that they have in their communities and in household management. It is very likely that you have experience running, helping around the house, helping around your community, maybe conducting a small business, and all of those things are things that can be regarded as a leadership experience. So when you, during the application, you are asked about activities that you've done that prove that you have leadership potential, don't just look at maybe the formal or the more celebrated forms of leadership that we hear about, like going to webinars or going to internships and things like that. Look at what you do in your everyday life, people that are counting on you, the ways that you support your community, and try to translate that into leadership roles, because we are almost 100% sure that you're displaying a lot of qualities that will look into leaders in doing those tasks. So those daily activities that you do can count as leadership. You just have to find a way to tell us so in your essays and in your application. The second factor is that it is a very well-known fact that women in general, and no matter the age, not just when they apply into scholarship program, they tend to put more pressure on themselves for being the perfect candidate. And there is no such thing. There is no 100% match to a job or a scholarship. So whenever you're applying, do not let anything tell you that because you are a woman, for any reason, you might not qualify as an AI scholar. We don't do any discriminations whatsoever. Basically, we need that like statistic to know who you are, who we're talking to, but nothing that says, about your gender is gonna mean more than it's supposed to for us. So do not fear, do not diminish your accomplishments, do not think that any boy or dropout has any hold over your application just because of your gender. We are also aware, and this is just like the reality of things, that in sub-Saharan Africa, it might be more difficult to convince your guardians about letting you go abroad. And we'll talk about this later with our students, but we assure you that there is plenty of resources online that can help you find ways to communicate with your guardians and to communicate clearly what the AI is. Maybe you can have them watch this webinar or any other thing that we have online. Look at other female candidates that are already in the program and doing well. Just try your best to convince them that this is a good option for you, this is a good idea for you, and to let you try your best at being with us. If in any case they need to be reassured from Ashinaga, maybe send us an email and we'll do the necessary in letting them know that this is a trustworthy program that they can let you experience. And then finally, you don't have to do it alone. Just because you're the one applying and potentially getting the scholarship doesn't mean you cannot ask people for help. And you might be the one that people usually go for help for other things, especially if you have siblings, etc. But this is your turn to go to your friends, your teachers, and your family and ask them to help you perfect your application. Sometimes sometimes you might need them to help you see the qualities that you can put forth in your application. You might need recommendation letters. So get all the support needed in your network to submit the best application possible and be selected as an AI scholar. So now that I've told you my tips as a staff, I think the best thing I can do is let you people who've gone through the process, let you know exactly what they've done to be selected as AI applicants and their secrets and advice that they can give you for that. Before we all answer this really important question, I will actually ask all three of students, Betty, Susan, and Rose, to introduce themselves individually and tell us a little bit more than I did about themselves. So you can go in any order you want, but I'll actually just pick. I'll go with Rose first.
Okay, thank you, Oli. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending where you're from. My name is Rose, and I am a South African currently studying at Okayama University in Japan. I'm majoring in medical anthropology, and a little bit about me. I have currently started a small organization which aims at empowering women who are impacted and affected by HIV. So yeah, that's basically it about me in a nutshell. Nice to meet you. Wait, do I answer the question now or do I let everyone introduce themselves? And then we'll get to the answering part later.
Yes, okay. You can answer later. Thank you. And I'm already excited to hear more about your project, but we'll let the others introduce themselves as well. So Betty, you can go next.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me on here. So my name is Betty, and originally I'm from Ethiopia, but I was born and raised in Sudan. Currently I live in Japan, and my major is international relations. I really look forward to discussing this very interesting yet really important topic right here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And then we can have Susan.
Hey everyone, my name is Susan from Tanzania. I am an AII scholar or alumni. I graduated in 2019 and I did my undergrad in the UK. And I've experienced quite a lot, or I've been going through with Ashinaga, and they helped me a lot throughout my journey. So hopefully I'll be able to share some experience that I have. Thank you.
Yes, exciting to hear more about it. I actually have to correct because I said that you are all current scholars, but it turns out you are an alumni, which you have been with Ashinaga for a very long while, and it shows that our support goes further. And we're excited to hear actually how we were able to support you beyond your graduation. So we can now go ahead and get the first question answered. I'll start with Jennifer's idea of what female leadership in AI looks like, and then the students can answer one after another. So yes, what does female leadership means for you, Jennifer?
Thank you, Alimata. I think one of the best things about this question is that it's very personal and at the same time has broader impact. And so female leadership for me is the belief that you can make a difference in big and small ways, and that you don't have to compare yourself to others when you're becoming the leader that you can be. And that means that each young lady is on her own journey through this process, and she can discover the things that she cares about and ways that can then benefit not just her own development, but the people that are around her, and ultimately her community and her country. Therefore, female leadership is vital, I think, to an individual's self-development, but also to making the world better. And that is the ultimate goal of Ashinaga, no matter where our activities are taking place, whether that's here in Japan where we're founded or in countries all over the world. And the young ladies that are on this call right now will be able to give you concrete examples of what that looks like. But I'm actually quite proud to work with such strong leaders within Ashinaga, the organization, with my colleague Uli Mata as well, with other female employees and staff who understand this concept and work together to support the young ladies and young men who are part of the program to develop into the potential that they have and that was demonstrated when they applied for the program and were selected for it. So I thank you again for that question, Uli Mata, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how the scholars and graduates also will define this. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's a really, really beautiful answer. And I like that you mentioned it as Stafa as well. I actually think it's really something to be proud of that the director of the AI program is a woman. A lot of the managers are actually women. So we're not just doing this from anybody's perspective. We're doing it from the perspective of women who are in leadership positions and want to take on more leaders as well. So, you know, we're doing, I think, at least we think so. So now I'm really curious to see what the scholars would define as female leadership from their point of view. So I'll shuffle the rounds and I'll go with Betty this time around.
All right, thank you. So for me, I would say that female leadership equals like strength, I would say. And along with strength, other qualities too, like compassion and just being supportive. And so that being said, I think that, well, there should be a quality of having, you know, active and motivated women for improvement. And I believe that that's what we really are, and, you know, at the very core of us. But a lot of the times, you know, opportunities may not be, you know, present, even though we do have that desire to make change. And so that being said, this desire to have improvement should be, you know, in all aspects of life without having to prioritize one over the other. So, you know, in terms of political engagement, we need more women. And in terms of being great educators and contributing to our economy, and also at an individual level for yourself, for your small community, at a household level. And so I think, you know, being a great mom or a great sister or great daughter, that in itself is female leadership, because I feel like there's a lot of emphasis on just, you know, being a leader within the professional like setting. But I feel like it is important for women to understand that our role is beyond, you know, it does not really, it transcends all aspects. So yeah, and, you know, the more females are leading the way in our continent, I feel like all these aspects, you know, at household level, ideas and notions will start to transform. And so, you know, we'll have a better environment, you know, just because of the fact that we are, you know, leading the way. Yeah. I think that's my idea of female leadership.
That's so beautifully put together. I don't know what else to say. Like, it's so important to really reconcile those two aspects, professional and personal life. Perfect answer. You get a 10 out of 10. And not that you're getting scored. And then I'll go with Susan next.
Yeah.
Thank you. So for me, I think when you talk about the female leadership, I take it to be as a chance, for example, to encourage the society about the importance of gender equality, because it has been going on, like there is a myth or ideas that people have that in order to be a leader, you have to be male to do that, but also female can also be given a chance to do that, so they can show their capabilities, and also they can grab the opportunity they have, and also it can help them to boost, to learn the process, what leadership is, and also to learn what they can be able to do to their community, but as well as to adapt to changes that are currently happening, because as we know, there are a lot of changes that are going on in the world. So it's rather better to have that gender equality and give women a chance, or females the chance to take part in leadership. It doesn't matter how the position you have. I think, as Jennifer mentioned, like you don't have to do great things, for example, in a country or in a big organization. It can just be like a minor leadership program or a minor leadership position that you can be able to impact others. So for me, I think for female leadership, it's important to give them, to encourage the society about the gender equality, but at the same time, to help boost the confidence that boost the female confidence that they can be able to do what they think they might not be able to do that. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, Susan. Leadership is an attitude, not a title. So at any level that somebody might be, they can be a leader indeed. And it's a shift in mindset that before we get to the opportunities, you're right, it's a shift in mindset, understanding that yes, female can be leaders and then going and grabbing those opportunities. Perfectly said again. So last but not least, I'm here curious to see what Rose defines as leadership.
Okay. So for me, female leadership is going against the odds that for generation the society has inflicted on women. It's quite unfortunate that we as women, we come into the society that has created narratives for us. So I think for me, being a leader or being a female leadership means changing the narrative, going against what the society does not deem for women. And I can speak about myself because, I didn't think that then when it happened that I was a female leadership, but just understanding the definition now, it's like, okay, Rose, that was female leadership. I've had instances at school where I was told that women are not supposed to apply for certain positions, women are not supposed to be smart. And I think for me, because in an understanding that I understood that, I'm sorry, it's not Corona. I understood I understood that this is the society, this is the reality for most women, but I refuse to let that be my my reality. I refuse to let that define me. So I in school in school I come from a family where two of my brothers dropped out of school, and then everyone was expecting me to drop out of school. So for me, I went against the odds. This is the odd that the society has already inflicted on us, that, okay, if the brothers followed this pattern, that this is a pattern that she's supposed to follow. And also, I can't be too successful as a woman. I can't apply for Ashinaga scholarship because who's gonna marry me? You know, these are the odds that the society has inflicted on women. But I've gotten to a point in understanding that, you know what, the society, the right people who are not illiterate understand. And this is why there's so much feminism today, because women have reached an understanding that we are not just mothers. We don't just belong to the kitchen. We're not just supposed to tend for the field. So female leadership to me, in essence, I don't know if I'm blabbering, but female leadership to me, from my own understanding and from my own experience, means going against the odds and the narratives that the society has inflicted on women for generations and generations. So yeah, that's basically my definition.
Yeah, that's very that's amazing as well. And between the three of you, I got that leadership is not just professional; it encompasses all parts of life. It's also an attitude. It's not just a title. And finally, leadership is defining your own narrative. And I couldn't think of a better definition to put it like in a short sentence together. So thank you very much to all three of you, and of course to Jennifer as well. So the next question is going to be about Betty. You've touched a little bit upon it. The potential obstacles and barriers you might encounter as a female applicant wanting to go abroad from Africa. And I think everybody has their own little story or experience about this. So if you could briefly tell us what was it in your experience, in your background, that made you want to go abroad? How did you come to communicate and convince your community for that? You don't have to go too much into details. And what was one or two obstacles that you knew was there, but you were able to overcome and to go after your dreams? Let's do reverse order and start with Rose this time around.
Okay. Okay. So it's gonna be funny because for me, I never even dreamt of studying abroad. It was a foreign concept to me. It was something that I thought was not even possible, so I never even thought about it. At my school, I was always given the opportunity whenever there was a guest at our school. I was always given the opportunity to give vote of thanks, right? So when I was in the last grade, when I was in high school, we call it matric in South Africa. It's the last grade in secondary school. So when I was in matric, there was a woman that came to our school and she motivated us and told us to dream big because after matric, we're going to university and now we're going to see life from a different perspective, right? So after that woman motivated us, I stood up and I gave vote of thanks. But because we're writing final exams, it turned out to be like a motivational session for my fellow students. And the woman was impressed with what I said to the student and how I spoke. So she told me, she took me outside after that session was done. And she said, you have the potential to study abroad. And I was like, really? Just from hearing me, you think that I have potential to study abroad? And she was like, yeah, you do have potential to study abroad. Because she was based, sorry, I didn't in Japan. She knew about opportunities in Japan, scholarship, your internships in Japan. So she was like, no, I think you have potential. I'll look up scholarships for you and then I'll send it. Let's exchange WhatsApp numbers, which we did. And she told me about the scholarship and I applied for it. Prior to applying, one of the requirements is that you have to have lost one parent or two. So my dad was normal, but we didn't have a relationship with the family, so I couldn't apply then. So a year later, I don't know if it's unfortunate or fortunately, my mom passed away, and then I was able to use her certificate to apply, which was a blessing in disguise, if you ask me. So I was able to use her certificate and applied. But in applying, I didn't tell anyone in my family because, first of all, I didn't want to excite them because if I told them, the thing about my family, which is something I think it's a blessing, my family believes in me. I think for the longest time, they've seen that I have, I've just been I have been one who broke like barriers. I've been one who broke like generational curses. If I told them about this opportunity, they would be like excited for me, which is fortunate because I think I've seen families, most families, when you tell them about studying abroad, they don't want that. They're scared for women to go abroad, more especially on their own, because with everything going on, the human trafficking, they don't want to put their girls through that. But with my family, they trusted me. But I didn't tell them when I was applying. But I applied after having been selected as one of the finalists. I then had to tell them about the scholarship, and man, they were very fine with it. They were happy with me. They were happy for me, and they actually gave me money to come. I was at university then, to come back home and then so that we can travel together to the embassy to get an interview. So for me, my family was very, very supportive. It's actually the voices that I had, the challenges that I had has been from people outside, not the internal. So people were asking me, oh, but you're in university now. If you apply for this scholarship now, you have to waste 2 years. By the time you graduate, you'll probably be 24. 24, you could have been doing your master's. But because for me, external voices don't matter as much as internal voices, because of the support that I had from my family, still went on and applied, and now I'm here in Japan. So there's also unfortunately, most of the voices, most of the barriers that I've had to overcome have been barriers from outside. So it wasn't as much difficult as it would have been if it was my family preventing me from applying for this scholarship. So yeah, I hope I answered your question.
You did, because in one part you told us that you had family support, which is really amazing and nice to hear. But also in telling us that you didn't even dream of studying abroad, we can see that there was an obstacle in terms of finding that opportunity, getting that opportunity, and that's also something that we've observed across the board. And that's why we do our best. We partner with locals to get this information to as many as students possible everywhere in sub-Saharan Africa. And also, like you said, external voices. Sometimes the support, the obstacles are not from your immediate family, not the immediate network, but just like the society around you or the neighborhood around you. But you definitely want strong and resilient young ladies. So you're here today because you were able to overcome all of that. So that's wonderful. I'm curious to hear what Susan's experience was like.
So my experience was a bit, I remember because it was the first cohort, Ashinaga started giving the scholarship in Africa, and in Tanzania, Ashinaga is not well known. And at that time, I was not yet at the university because of some of the financial stuff. But when I was given a form, because at that time there was no online application and all that, so it has advanced now. So I was a bit scared because there are a lot of scams going on about giving fake scholarships, especially to female. And I've had a lot of stories, especially in some countries in Africa. So I was a bit scared knowing that I've never heard of this organization. Was I sure that this is really a scholarship? But I tried to talk to my mom and she encouraged me to apply, though I was scared. And I've never dreamt, or I never thought of going to study abroad, as I think similar as Rose. I knew that it would be expensive, so I never thought of going abroad. But then after being encouraged, my mama encouraged me to apply. And when I was called for the interview, remember the first time, because we had to do an oral interview, I didn't tell her. I was a bit scared that I didn't want to put her expectation higher than what if I don't pass this opportunity. But then later I just had to tell her that I'm going for an interview. So yeah, I think I got a lot of support from my mother and my young brother. And so after I got the scholarship, so mostly I can say that I didn't face a lot of obstacles from outside because I was scared. I didn't want to tell others, knowing that some of them would just discourage me from applying, or they'll also scare me to apply for any opportunity. So I didn't want to do that. But so kind of obstacle, what I can say most is it was from inside. So I was a bit scared applying for a scholarship that I've never heard of, and I was not sure if I'm going to get that. But at the end, when I was told that, oh, we can also help you apply for passport, because I didn't have any. So applying for passport, applying for visa to go to study camp in Uganda, I was like, oh, this is this is a legitimate scholarship, and I was happy to do that. So I think the support I got from my family, and that inner doubt I had that I'm not sure if this is a right scholarship or if this is true. So trying to search for truth, and also trying to find for more information or to ask help from a person you trust. I think that's more helpful if you want to try to do something. Because if I didn't ask for help, or if I didn't want to search more if really this organization exists, then I don't think if I would be an AII scholar. So I think, yeah, it was a great experience, and studying in the UK, it was a great experience to have.
Yeah. Wonderful. So if you are an applicant who also has to convince themselves or their entourage that we are a legitimate organization, because we know that there is a lot of, like you said, issues sometimes around, we are very transparent. Our stuff is on Facebook, on Instagram. We reply by email. You can call our offices in Senegal, in Uganda. We are more than happy to talk to you and give you any information you might need for your application, and to really support you through everything. Like you said, passport application, sometimes we help you and support you throughout that process. success. So I think we have Betty here. And so far, I feel like you both have had really great support from your families, and that's just really reassuring and wonderful, heartwarming to hear. I also think that might have been the case with Betty, but let's see what she says. Betty, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Can you see me?
Yes.
All right. Perfect. Yeah, so I think my experience is also very similar to Suzanne's and Rose's experience. So just growing up, like my family valued learning so much, and they, gave me so much free will in terms of just enjoying learning and then providing opportunities and encouraging me to read and know more. And so that being said, my dad was very supportive, and not only supportive, he encouraged me throughout the way. And he's still very involved in my academic life, and also, with my progress, and he knows about my study and career plans, and he always advises me. So, that being said, he wasn't happy with the fact that I would leave him, which is very understandable for, for parents, but he was very supportive of just me going for it, because it is eventually my dream. And at the same time, not just my father, but I think also that the friendship that I made, my best friend was my motivation, really, because when I told her about this opportunity, because previously I used to apply to other scholarships, and I think I reached a point where I didn't know, I was kind of hesitant. So when I told her, she gave me one tip that I would love to tell other people, because I think that would be a driving force. And she told me, if you apply and get in, then that's great. And if you apply and don't get it, then you're not losing anything. And just knowing that information, I realized I'm not at any point of disadvantage if I actually try and don't get it. What matters is going for it. So I would really encourage all applicants who want to apply, females as well as males, to just know more about the scholarship. Get as much information from the website. You can, or Ashinaga, other Ashinaga candidates, or, through watching these webinars, you would understand about the requirements of the scholarship. So start gathering your documents well in advance, because time is really important when it comes to applications. And then, talk to your guardians about it, and make them understand why it is useful. I think that is really important. Try to let them know how this will be beneficial for you and for your dreams. And so Ashinaga does not only support you financially or career-wise, but you also gain a family and a network. And I think it's really important to understand that on a bigger scope, more than just it being a scholarship. Yes. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, being prepared, and sometimes the obstacle might be getting the necessary documentation needed for the application. So that's a really good point as well. And between the three of you, I know that we don't have really issues with how to communicate to your guardian in regards to the application, but I just would like to let any applicants that is looking at applying and might need some extra arguments. You have so much information on our website, and the local staff is more than happy to talk to you on the phone and convince your parents if needed. But we also usually have at least one scholar from your country that's been admitted in the program, and if necessary, we'll do the necessary so that you can talk to them and see that we actually really take care of our scholars. This is a real program, and we help you go through with this. So I am actually curious to know, what is it about AI scholars that made you feel safe as a woman to apply to? Because as you mentioned, you had your doubts and your fears. Was there an element of the application process, of the website, is there an image or something that really made you feel at some point that, okay, I can actually, I could trust these people if I get in this program? Just maybe a short memory or a short souvenir of what made you feel safe, and that somebody could go and refer to if they're still having doubts about the AI program. Okay, who wants to go, or should I choose? I'll go with Susan.
Okay, so I think for the currently there are a lot of information online about the program, but when I started, it was because the program was just starting, so it was a bit difficult to get more information about the organization or about the scholarship they have. And because we only did application, you had to write to fill in the forms and post them. So it was a bit difficult at that time, but I think for now it's much easier because everything is online. If you want to find other scholars, which I think by now there are a lot of other scholars, so it can be easier to see really this and get a confidence that this organization really helps to, and there are students who are studying and there are other graduates who have already graduated. So for me, what I did at that time, apart from asking for more information and searching if this scholarship really existed, I remember what I did, because it was mentioned in the form that you have to do two interviews, like a written and an oral interview. So when I saw that the oral interview will be done in an embassy, so at least that idea that, oh, it's done in the embassy, so maybe this is, because they cannot just write, they give out, they're doing interviews at the embassy. And also because most of the time I was told that if you're trying to apply for a scholarship, you should make sure that they don't, normally scholarships don't tell you to pay up in order to get. So I think that the important tip, if you're applying for a scholarship and they try to ask money from you, then in reality, it should be a red flag for you to apply for that one. So for me, I think, so searching for the information and asking people who knew the embassy, someone who knew the embassy and told me, oh, this organization really exists. And so it gave me the confidence to apply for the scholarship.
Yes, that's two very important points that we want people to know about our program. Is that one, we work with the Japanese embassy sometimes to just give the information about the program. And yes, you are right. When you were applying back then, we would do the interviews in the embassy. People would travel there. But since for the last 2 years now, because of the very well-known corona pandemic, we've had to go online with our interviews, but you can still reach out to the embassy if you ever need to have more information about them. They will confirm that the program is running and the status of the Ashinaga Foundation. But I have to mention that the interviews are being conducted online nowadays. However, the one thing that is remaining the same is that we do not ask for any fees at any stage of the application process. So as she said, if anybody is impersonating Ashinaga and asking you for fees, that's not us. Do not go further with that individuals. All throughout our applications, you are not required to spend any money. You're not required to pay us or to send any kind of payments to us. So that's really nice. Thank you. I think the fact that there is an official seal on our programs is a reassuring fact, and I'm glad to see that it worked for you. So what about, let's say, Betty? What about Betty?
So I think for me, the point where I really felt very comfortable with the scholarship program with Ashinaga was the amount of support I actually received during the application process. So when applying, obviously you have a lot of questions, and that time I've been getting a lot of support with the Ashinaga staff who was working with me at that time, who I'm very grateful for, because he really went above and beyond with just informing me with everything that I needed to know. And also, not only that, but in terms of, I had some problems with some paperwork that I couldn't get. And he was very helpful with the paperwork, and that was, before the interview and after the interview, and the support was very continuous. So when I had that, I really thought, okay, this is very reassuring, and I wanted to go with it 100% after that. Yes,
absolutely. I think since you've applied, we've even added more support. Honestly, just registering as a potential applicant right now is a good way to get some really helpful information about not just Ashinaga, but also applying to a scholarship in general. We do newsletters for any candidates that's applying right now, when you get tips on how to write a good essay, how to prepare for interviews. And we also have a guidebook that we give to everybody, even if you do not, to those who might not get to the next stage, will help them prepare for the next maybe year of Ashinaga Africa Initiative, or any other scholarship. So we really care about what you get out of the application process, and just the fact of registration sometimes can really help you gain some valuable insight into yourself, your career development, your study plans, and all of that. So please just go and register, try at least to get an account with us and see what the process would look like for you. So last but not least, Rose, what was it about us that made you feel safe?
Yeah, what the both of them said, to be honest. But I also remember when it comes to deadlines, right? I remember thinking that there were some deadlines that I was not going to be able to meet because I didn't have the documents that they were looking for. But like Betty said, the Ashinaga staff that was assigned to me was also like very, very supportive. So just going back and forth with her and telling her that I'm not going to be able to get the document, and receiving like prompt response from her, reassuring me, I think for me made it made me feel safe personally. But I do remember one incident that made my family feel more at ease. We were gonna go for the interview, right? So they were telling us that, since I was coming from far, I'm coming from like a different province, and the embassy is in a different province, and they told me that, we'll pay for your transport. So I remember telling that to my family and saying that, if we get the receipt, the scholarship will pay for your transport. And my aunt was like, okay, this seems legit then, right? So I remember from there, my aunt was more at ease, because also she was taking care of me when I was in university. So from there on, knowing that there's people that are there to take care of me, even before I get the scholarship, they're already reimbursing me. That kind of made her feel at ease. I remember that one aspect that made my family feel more at ease. Yeah.
So yes, that's we try really to ease the process as much as possible. The only thing that we want the scholars to worry about is to give a good application, and we understand that sometimes administrative papers can be difficult to obtain, so we also remain to some extent flexible about that. You can explain to us if you need more time, etc., etc. But if you have a good application, you have potential, and you believe in yourself, we do our very best to help you demonstrate that potential and welcome you into the program. It is competitive, yes, but we want to give as many students as possible their chance to apply and be with us. So I've really enjoyed learning all about your journeys with Ashinaga. We're unfortunately running a little bit out of time. So once again, I want to encourage any applicants, female specifically, but also just any applicants who comes across the Ashinaga Africa Initiative, to at least take the first steps in registering, because our application is in 2 steps, and check for yourself if you're eligible, but you also be told, so if you are ineligible or not, we'll send you an email and you'll get at least a document that helps you prepare maybe for the next stages. If you have to fill in the application, you'll be asked questions that will make you reflect and learn more about yourself. And so share this information with your classmates, with your siblings, with anybody who might be interested in the program. I'll ask one last question that will help us wrap up, and I'll let Jennifer have the final word. But before then, I would like each of the scholars to let us know what's one leadership project that they had in mind, or something that they really wanted to do when they were just applying to the program, and that Ashinaga has helped them move forward in a very brief way. I already know that Rose gave us like a preview, I think. So in the same manner, can you tell us just a little bit more about it and how Ashinaga has helped you put that project into place? And then I would like the others. It can be also your career plan or any other thing. It doesn't have to be like a setup project like Rose. Just one thing that Ashinaga helped you push forward and accomplish as a leader, female leader. Thank you.
Okay, so before I even applied for Ashinaga, to be honest, like I didn't think I was going to be like that. I knew I was a leader, but I didn't think I was going to be that leader who would make like a big impact, right? So I think then getting accepted into the program and actually having to work on the proposal and seeing what other students or fellow students were doing, it also ignited a fire in me. So I then had to start thinking about the issue that was very close to my heart. Because I remember when I was applying for Ashinaga and I had to write about my dream or an issue that was close to my heart, I just chose something that was very shallow. Because there were also some things that I had to work on myself before I even understood what I wanted to solve. So just then being part of this program and seeing what other people were doing and actually being guided, the proposal that we have to write, revising it again. I then chose an issue that was very close to my heart, and this issue was HIV. Because for me personally, I've experienced it firsthand. I'm not infected, but I've had my mother pass away because of it. So part of the process of the proposal was me also like just trying to understand or to also be able to tell, because I then had to tell my mom's story, right? So I needed to find the right way of telling my mom's story in a way that was not going to victimize her. So then I started the organization, and with the help of like the CRC, we have the PND, like everyone has been, we have the PND, we have the, what do you call it, the mentor program, like all of that, all of those different departments that Ashinaga has kind of been very pivotal in me achieving this dream of starting an organization. So I did also with some of the members. So this organization, I started it with 9 other women, and 2 of the women that I started this organization with are Ashinaga scholars. I wouldn't have been able to meet them if I was not accepted for this scholarship. So I then started an organization called Teen Organization, which is named after my mom, my late mom, I'm sorry. And part of what we're doing as an organization is to empower women who are infected and affected by HIV. I mean, I come from a country, South Africa is a country that is at the peak of gender-based violence. Women are being abused, there's unemployment, there's the raping of women, there's teenage pregnancy. So part of what we're doing as an organization is to empower these young girls, is to help them find their voice, is to help them use their story to also empower the generation to come. So yeah, that's basically it about my organization. And what we're currently doing is also mentoring these young girls. So 10 of us are mentoring these young girls that we've chosen for different schools, where we make sure that we provide support physically, financially to a certain extent, emotionally, and every other alley there is, but just that they could be the best version of themselves. And I honestly started not help me with revising my proposal over and over again. So yeah, that's it about the project. Well, the project has already started, but my dream, what they call kokorozashi here in Japan, is to actually build a structure for this organization, a center of hope for these young girls in South Africa, and hopefully we'll be able to move into other parts of Africa as well, because I do understand that there's a lot of gender issues that Africa is kind of like still faced with at the current moment. So yeah, that's it about my project. Thank you.
I wish we had more time just to hear more about it. We have no doubt that you're going to go really, really far with this. And I can assure you that any Ashinaga staff who's coming close to touch to supporting you or not is very, very like extremely proud of you and what you're accomplishing, and you'll get any support that you need from us. You've mentored the PND team, the professional networking and development team, the mentorship program. So really, like we, Ashinaga put so much into place just to support you, and we're just excited that you're able to get started with it, and we are looking forward to see what else you accomplish. So next we can have like Betty tell us a little bit about something, maybe briefly, because we're running a bit out of time.
Okay.
Something to be able to like accomplish with Ashinaga.
I'll try to make it as brief as possible, hopefully.
Yeah.
So I think, well, one of the most important thing to me that I noticed like with regards to the support that I receive from Ashinaga is that there's a lot of emphasis to like reflect, especially at the very beginning, where you are really encouraged to reflect and think and dig deeper about your kokorozashi, and this kokorozashi is like your dream, and so you really need to think about it, and then you get support in achieving that. And so I think one great example that I could just say right now that is I'm working with right now is with the professional network development team. And this team basically helps you with internships, with everything that deals with professional development. And so I think currently I have sort of like a vague idea, for example, about what I want to do, or I have multiple interests. And so at least this team helps me to gain, like, have a good like guideline or framework that I can actually, that is really organized and that I can work with, in comparison with if I was just alone, it would be a little bit more kind of like scattered, and I wouldn't know which direction exactly to take. So just that that emphasis on thinking about things really systematically, and just not being passionate about something, but also thinking about how feasible it is, how can I improve, how can I find funding, looking at the bigger picture and the details, just helps me to be really proactive, and working with another person also makes me really accountable towards that goal, and it helps me to like reflect and gain more like a constructive criticism with the good points that I'm actually working on and the bad points. And I think so with that, I believe that with Ashinaga, I'm just really happy that it is a process of just having that dream and working on it, and eventually to just have like a perfected basically. So yeah, I hope that was short and concise.
It was great helping you basically build a strong foundation. And I promise you that's one of the best way to start your career and your journey into the professional world. So hopefully you'll find all the answers you need, and I'm sure you'll get a very structured plan and all the tools that you need thanks to the PND and any other stuff in Ashinaga. Susan, you already graduated, but now you're onto your other studies, or you've taken some professional endeavor, but you're still getting support from Ashinaga. So could you just explain a little bit about that for us? And that will be our final information before Jennifer.
So I think because I graduated in 2019, so after graduating, basically I didn't know what I'll be doing back home, because the course I studied is not common in Tanzania, and they didn't know about few people know about the course, but most of them don't know specifically what I do. So it was a bit challenging, and it was depressing some kind of. So I remember during that time after my graduation, Ashinaga, I had a mentor, but also I had someone from the PNG team. So we are trying to apply. So they helped me apply for other, for example, applying for other scholarship where I can be able to do my master's, or applying for jobs if they had any job opportunities. So they quite offered help me. They helped me through that time. It was a really depressing time, because knowing that I've graduated, but I don't know exactly where I fit in. So it was a bit challenging. But the fact that having a support, when you get a support, it does not guarantee that you have that specific thing, but at least having that support, knowing that, oh, maybe I can go in this direction, I can try the other direction. So that was really helpful to me. And so that was the main kind of help that I got from Ashinaga. But also, even if you become an alumni, which I am now, so after 2 years, they still want to know more about you. So it does, graduating from the program does not mean that that's the end. Ashinaga won't contact you or anything. So they really like to know what you have been up to, if you need any help, or if you need assistance in applying more scholarship. So they help me with all of those. So for all other applicants, if they're trying to apply, and it can be hard to decide what exactly you want to do, because I've gone through that, but the help I got was really helpful to give me a direction where I want. And also, as you have mentioned, they have started a master's scholarship in Africa. So after graduating your degree, you can come back to Africa and do your master's. They can be able to help with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So once you get accepted into the AAI program, you just get into the Ashinaga family, which means, like she said, even after you graduate, if you need support from Ashinaga, within our possibilities, we'll be able to do that. But we also do that because we want to do things like today, the fact that you're an alumni, we want people to look at you, want you to share your experience with us, and hopefully inspire more scholars to come and be part of the Ashinaga family and do your part of giving back, because that's a really important part of Ashinaga. So time was really too short, I think, at least for my liking. I've really enjoyed hearing all your amazing answers about your journey and what Ashinaga has been doing for you. And I think none of you would have been able to do all of it you've accomplished if it wasn't for the support of, again, the amazing team that Jennifer is leading. So I'm gonna let her conclude and say what it feels like for her to see the results of her work, basically talking, and what it makes her like want to do more for AAI. And yes, before I have a final sentence, we'll finish in like 3 minutes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Limata-san. I think it's not even the work that the student relations team is doing. It's all part of the relationship and the expectations of excellence that we have of each and every scholar. And that in and of itself, I think helps to motivate us, because it's not about us, it's not about the staff. We are wanting the scholars and these young people to develop into their fullest potential. And one of the things that just struck me, every single young lady on the call right now has said that even though she was scared, even though she wasn't sure what was going to happen, even though it might have been a bit unclear, the bravery it took to go ahead and just take that step, that's what courage is. And that's what women have, I think, we have in abundance. And so if a young lady is out there now and they're just thinking of their future and what that could be, just try for it. And then take advantage of the opportunities that are then presented to you. Because again, it's not about us as individuals all the time. Yes, it does take courage. It does take your own initiative. But once you take that step, then we're all working on this together as an Ashinaga AI family. And I enjoyed this very much myself, just to hear from each of the young ladies, and of course the wonderful support of the recruitment team. And we are waiting for you. We're waiting to support you once you become a scholar and start on this journey. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much to all 4 of you. It's been an absolute pleasure really hearing all about your ideas. The recruitment team really thanks you very much for taking the time, especially like for you, Jennifer. I have to mention that it's really early for you, but thank you so much for sharing. As a recruitment team, we really do our best to spread as much information, accurate information, and encourage as many applicants as possible to come forward and try, at least like you said. And I'm the face right now of the recruitment team, but I also want to thank everybody else who's in the background, behind the scene, and helping and we remain at your disposal. We can talk to you in French and in English. So please just try at the very least. And if you have any doubt, any questions, write, comment on Facebook. We'll support you as best as we can to help you apply and become part of the 2022 Ashinaga Africa Initiative cohort. We're looking forward to receiving your applications. Thank you again, and have a very rest of the year, a very good festive season, and hopefully see you next year. Bye. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.